right now. Let's start with North Carolina. Tyler, we obviously are going to go to you here first. We've asked you about this team a bunch of times this year, and I feel like the last few weeks it's starting to dwindle. Like hope is starting, the light at the end of the tunnel is growing smaller and smaller a little bit, and then they survive that game against Notre Dame. I mean, I think it would be fair to say you lose that game to Notre Dame, all of a sudden you are out of that picture. Right now, they're still firmly on the bubble. I'm sure that's what our bracketology guys are going to tell us when we do the show tomorrow. But let's just start broadly. Where are you at with North Carolina right now? Are you happy with how this team is playing? Do you think they should be further ahead of where they are?
No, I'm not happy. Do I think they should be farther along? Absolutely. I mean, the preseason #1 team in the country. And I don't think anybody, it's Carolina fans or in the program are really satisfied currently. But they are a bubble team right now, in my opinion. But it doesn't mean that they're going to have their opportunities. They have 2 quad one opportunities coming up. Virginia at home. Then they have Duke at home. Both games favored by Ken Palm. And then they have Florida State on the road. So they're going to have their chances, but they cannot lose to Florida State at Florida State. I think that, the road has been a difficult task for North Carolina. I think we're 3-7 on road games. So we go up to Notre Dame, and the first half was just awful. The guys' body language, they came out, they had 0 assists at halftime. And they've done that before, and I've always wondered if they're going to go a whole game without having 1 assist, which would be really impressive. But they did come out in the second half, and their body language got better, and it looked like they were competing. And for me, I can take losses. But if you lose the right way and you compete and you share the ball and the chemistry is going the right way, I mean, I'm fine with losing, but it doesn't seem like we've been clicking at times, and guys have been excited to play basketball. It's just kind of been one of those years where it just doesn't seem like everybody's really on the same page right now. So it's been tough.
Tyler, I got a question for you as an alum. Do you bring them back? I think everybody's eligible to come back but Licky Black. Like, is that from what you see, do you bring it back? If you wanted to bring everybody, if Armando said he's coming back, if Caleb Love, RJ Davis, everyone said they wanted to come back, do you bring this group back?
Absolutely. I think once you have more talent, you bring them back. Maybe they figure it out. And, I don't think this team has handled success well. And that's a whole different mindset, is when you're ranked #1 versus trying to be #1. To me, to maintain that and stay and live up to expectations is a much more difficult task. But I think that what this team needs is a little more fluidity in where they share the ball. I've always said, if they get high assist and they're sharing the ball and they're playing with energy and effort, I think this team's very tough to beat. But, it's at times it doesn't look like that's what's going on.
Tyler, you were the face of arguably the most talented group this sport has seen in decades. And I don't think there's a comparison from a talent standpoint, so I don't want to do that. I want to choose my words carefully here. But there's a reason this team was the #1 team in the country preseason, right? It was because, they did bring everybody back from the team that made the run. These are all very talented individual players. They did add a guy who I think is very talented in Pete Nance. He's not Brady Manick, but he was one of the top players that hit the transfer portal this season. Is it just like a too many cooks in the kitchen thing? Is it differing personalities? Or I guess, is there any comparison to going back to your day when you're looking around that locker room and seeing a bunch of NBA guys everywhere? But I mean, you guys did not have these struggles. Watching your team, it looked like there was a level of unselfishness to it almost. Is that fair to say there's a difference there? And why do you think there is that difference?
I think kids are putting too much pressure on themselves, and I think they're putting too much pressure on themselves to score. And there's much more to the game, off the ball movement, playing defense. It looks like everyone's living and dying by shots. And, if I were, looking at it, and I don't have much, I'm not inside or trying to gather information, but if they were just to stay in that locker room and start acting like they enjoy the game and playing with, a little more effort, and it looks like their body language got a little better and start fighting for each other, I think the season would turn around. This season is not over, and a lot of people are there's a lot of negativity because it is Carolina. They haven't lived up to the expectations, so it's easy to point that out. But there's some big opportunities coming up, and they could win outright in the regular season, and then make a little deep ACC tournament run. And I don't even think they're a bubble team. I think they're in. And if they get clicking and get it figured out, there's no reason this team can't make a deep run. I mean, just like they did last year.
Is Hubert the right guy for the job?
Absolutely. I mean, first year he goes to the Final Four, almost wins the national championship. If he won last year, we wouldn't even be having this question. I don't think this is on Hubert at all. I think Hubert's done a great job. It's actually pretty early to give him a evaluation at this point in year two. Let's see what he does with some of these recruits coming in. He has a great recruiting class coming in. I think it's awful early to start questioning that.
RC, do you agree? I mean, this is right back into our conversation again, right? Like, this is stupid to have this so early.
I think it is. I mean, I tell you what, how many schools would take a national championship, one rebound away from winning it, and then sitting here right now with questioning whether they're on the bubble or whatever? I mean, they're right there. They got, like you said, they got 2 quad one wins to go, and we're questioning whether he's the right guy for the job. Like, come on, man. He got the number 124 recruiting class in the country right now. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. I think there's a difference too, comparing what we did having this conversation 2 segments ago with a guy in year 6 versus comparing it with a guy in year 2. And a guy in year 2, by the way.
But no. The difference was, there's a difference because Carolina, it's about hanging banners. There's a difference. That's a national championship place. So when you go there, you look at them jerseys, it's like, hey, I want to be a part of something. That's why all the expectations from this group is because this group was close to joining that. And I get now because the betting and the fans and everything else, but some of these programs, like, there ain't no banners up there. You don't even have conference championship banners, and then you firing coaches. Like, man, get out of here. Like, stop it. Like there's levels to this. It ain't a whole lot of Carolinas out there. Like stop this foolishness.
That's a great point. It's a great point. I'm glad you made it. It's a fantastic point. We should not ever put Ohio State basketball and North Carolina basketball in the same sentence. Just should not. The only other thing I would add to the Hubert being the quote unquote right guy conversation here, you earn yourself leeway, 1, with a national championship appearance so early, but 2, when you extinguish the career of Coach K. Like, that matters, okay? Like, come back to me in 2 years, maybe, if we're still in this exact spot where we're out of the bubble. But this was not just like, oh, he made the tournament, whatever. No, he sent Coach K packing. Coach K is now on the sidelines, and he will never be able to say he beat Carolina in his final game at Cameron or in the Final Four with a national title appearance on the line.